That's what we're going to try today. We're going to start trying to work on some simplifying fractions. So fractions can be very tricky. You've done amazing up to this point, and I'm super excited for us to go further. So simplifying fractions are very, very similar to finding equivalent fractions. The only thing that's different is how we, instead of making them bigger, we make them smaller. That's all we're doing. So first things first, remember all the notes that I'm going to talk about right now are right below here. Okay, you can open them up, look at them. If you have a printer, you can print them, you can write all over them, you can color them, whatever you do, I don't care, okay? I made them for you. First things first, the word simplify. When we talk about fractions, you might hear a couple different words that all mean the same thing. So simplify, reduce, lowest terms, simplest form, these all mean the same thing. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a fraction that's kind of big and we're going to make it as nice and small and compact and perfect as we can. Okay, so to simplify, what we do is we divide the numerator and the denominator by the same number. This number has to evenly go into both the numerator and the denominator with nothing left over, so no decimal part after it. Okay, it has to fit in perfectly. Ready? Okay. So I've broken it down into two simple steps, and we're going to be looking at the fraction to start with as 4 over 24. Okay, now I'm not going to write down everything that I have in the notes on the board, but they're right below here. You can open them up, okay? So the first thing that we do is we have to determine the greatest common factor. This is the biggest number that can go into both of these, okay? The greatest common factor, I abbreviate as GCF, okay? A lot of the math world will abbreviate it GCF. Now, what we're going to do to find it is a little different from anything we've done before, but I think you'll pick up on it pretty quick. So the first thing we're going to do is find all the numbers that multiply into 4, okay? So one thing that you can have is you always have 1 and the number. So in this case, 1 and 4. What else can you divide 4 by evenly? If you said 2, you're correct. Now there are no other numbers that can divide into 4, okay? Now we're going to do the same thing for 24. All numbers that can multiply into it. Remember, we can always start with 1 and the number itself, which is 24. This is an even number, so it can be divided by 2. This number can also be divided by 3. Can be divided by 4, 6, 8, and 12. Now, if you don't know how to do this, what you want to do is you want to take your calculator and you can do 24 divided by 1 and you get 24. So you know those will both be up there. If you do 24 divided by 2, you get 2 and 12. If you did 24 divided by 3, you'd get 3 and 8. 24 divided by 4, you get 4 and 6. Now, if you did 24 divided by 5, you might get like, God, I don't even know what it'll be, like 5 point, no. It'd be 4.9 or something like that, okay? Now, that's not a whole number, so we're not going to include it on this list. We're only going to include numbers that are whole numbers, meaning there's no decimal part. Okay, now, the way that we find out what our greatest common factor is from this crazy looking list, what is the biggest number that they both have in common? If you guessed 4, then you did it good. So now our second step is we divide both the numerator and the denominator by that greatest common factor. So we're going to take 4 over 24 and divide each of them by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So our answer here is 1/6. Okay. Sometimes you will have a calculator. Let me see. Let me see if this will do it. Let me share this screen with you real quick. Let me figure out how to do that. So there's this really great calculator online. It's called Desmos. You just search Desmos, D-E-S-M-O-S on Google. It'll come up. You want to go to the scientific calculator. We don't need the graphing calculator right now. So on this one, so if you do 24 divided by 4, you get the answer 6. So on this one, if we do 4 divided by, oh, go back, didn't take my number, divided 4/24, I'm having some issues here. We get the weird number right there. See how this says this little button next to it? If you click over it, it says convert to fraction, and it tells you it's 1/6. How awesome is that? So this is a nice little way that we can check our work if we want to. But if you go by the old school method that I showed you just now, that I'm going to do a few more examples on, you'll be just fine. Just know that this resource is here to help you if you need it. Okay, so let's do some examples. The next one we're going to simplify is going to be the fraction 8/20. Okay, so same thing that we did earlier. Let's start with 8. Numbers that can go into 8 would be 1 and 8, 2 and 4, and that's all. Okay, numbers that can go into 20. You've got 1 and 20. You've got 2 and 10. 3 cannot go evenly into 20. We'd get some weird decimal, so we're not going to use it. 4 and 5. And anything past that isn't going to go nicely into 20. So now if we look at this, the biggest number that's in both of these, again, I didn't plan it this way, it just happened, is 4, just like on the last example. It just happened out this way. Sorry about that. So our next step is we're going to divide both of these by 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. 20 divided by 4 is 5. So our simplified fraction would be 2/5. Okay. I'm going to do one more example. This last one is going to be 13/39. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to map out both these numbers just like we did to find our greatest common factor. So if we start with 13, the only two numbers that can go into 13 are 1 and 13. Go to 39. We can get 1 and 39. 2, it's not an even number, so it's not going to be divisible by 2. But 3 and 13 can also go into it, okay? So we do this. The biggest number that can go into both of these is 13. So we're going to divide both numbers here by 13. And 13 divided by 13 would be 1. 39 divided by 13 is 3. So our simplified fraction here is 1/3. Okay. One more time, I'm going to show you the calculator one. It'll go up. There we go. I'm going to click clear all. Let's check our work on this one right here. So I am going to do 13 divided by 39. Okay, and we see this big 0.33333333. This little button over here, we hover over it, it says convert to fraction. If we click on that, it'll show us it's 1/3. So good job, we did it right. All right, so let me know if you have any questions and give the work a try. If you need any help on this, let me know and we can work together to get you some help. All right, good job, guys. Good luck on the work.